Welcome, one and all, to another edition of the Defo Show with Lubie right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you each and every day by the amazing people at Water Cleanup of Florida. They are there for you 24 hours a day. When disaster strikes in your home or business, you need specialized, fast, and reliable services. Well, lo and behold, you have Water Cleanup of Florida. They understand the impact and stress an unexpected disaster may cause you, whether it be water via flood or other water damage, fire, mold. They will dissect what the issue is and correct it with over 60 years of experience between Michael, Robert, and the entire team at Water Cleanup of Florida. Nice and easy. Just give Michael a call anytime, his personal cell, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 954-579-0356. Just mention 5 Reasons or Lubie. Mention 5 Reasons or Lubie and get a free inspection during business hours, 954-579-0356. Or, it is 2022, go to the website, WCUFL.com. Also, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Water Cleanup FL. Again, they make it easy for you finding what's wrong and fixing it. You don't have to bring in any other contractors. A to Z, Water Cleanup of Florida will handle it. Again, follow them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Water Cleanup FL or Water Cleanup of Florida. Water Cleanup of Florida, we clean up your schmutz. Today on the Defo Show with Lubie, we talking about winning organizations with the Water Cleanup of Florida. You have a winning organization, the Miami Heat, the most consistent winning program here in South Florida when it comes to sports the last over 2 decades. Well, once again, they're number 1 seed under Pat Riley, Andy Ellisberg, Eric Spoelstra, and they're waiting who they will play to set the scene for the Miami Heat's postseason. We talk with the man that's been there since their inception, 34 years. The one and only Eric Reid has been on the call for the Miami Heat, now with Bally Sports Florida. We talk today with the one and only Eric Reid about the Miami Heat and their playoff chances and outlook. The Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Happy Pesach. I'm going to New York to break some matzah, so have a great Passover.
Have a happy Passover.
Very nice. All right, have a good time up there.
Thanks.
Yeah. Go to Yonah Shimon.
Go Panthers.
All right, speaking of the Miami Heat, and we ready to go with the great Eric Reid? Is that happening?
Right to him if you want
Oh, okay. All right, let's just do it.
Unlike us, he's an actual pro, so he's early. Like when he's given a time, he shows up early. The legend that is.
Oh, look at how
Eric
handsome he
Reid.
looks. My God.
That's annoying.
Eric,
he looks
how are
better
you, my
than us,
friend?
and this is
Good
like our
to see
game.
you. This, of course, since the inception of the team, he's been with the broadcast team, and I guess for how many years is it now, Eric? 32 or something of Heat basketball?
Don't
34.
cheat. 34. 34,
yeah.
Mazel tov.
Hey,
Yeah.
first of all, good morning to both you guys.
Good morning,
Defo,
sir.
you know whatever respect you have for me, same for you, brother. You know that. And,
Thank you.
Good to hear you. Good to see you.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on the program here, and this is our new platform, Ion Channel, and streaming audio and video. And this is Eric Reid, the longtime play-by-play voice of the Miami Heat. And the thing about you, Eric, and I'm so happy when Lubie said you were coming on the show because I'm looking at the all-NBA teams, and I'm thinking, is Spoelstra even getting consideration for Coach of the Year? No, that's an automatic. It's going to the guy in Phoenix. And they're talking about the Cavaliers and Boston. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, if we don't have any players that are on the all-NBA team, and we have a lot of players that are in the rotation that have become big factors and catalysts for the Miami Heat this year that nobody ever heard of, or outside of town here, then how is Spoelstra not the Coach of the Year for what he's done with this group? But, I mean, it is amazing because this is vintage Heat to get this kind of motivation right before the postseason where they go in as a number 1 seed.
It reminds me of how we felt at the All-Star break when Jimmy Butler was the only representative. I think it's been that sort of collaborative type of season, guys, where, you've had the best season in the East, tied for the 3rd best record in the league. But pick an MVP from this year's Heat team. It's a very difficult exercise to even go through that. Picking the MVP of the team we just watched for 82 games. I mean, who is it? I don't know. I mean, so going back to Coach of the Year, Spo has done one of the great jobs of what is already a Hall of Fame career for him. He's not in the Hall of Fame yet, but he's going there. He was named one of the top 15 coaches in NBA history. So the respect is there for Erik Spoelstra. But for this year, listen, my respect for Spo is endless. I think this year, it's sort of funny, guys. The culture and the coaching's been in place for a long time in Miami. Think about it. Between Pat Riley and Erik Spoelstra, the culture and the coaching have been there for 25 years. Yet this is the season where it received more illumination and more recognition nationally than ever before. And I think that's because of some of the unknowns. You heard the movie The Usual Suspects.
Yeah.
This year's movie for the Heat would be The Unusual Suspects. Because who thought, Strus and Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent, Omer Yurtseven, I mean, it went on and on and on. So when Spo says in the last game or two, it took all 15 guys to do what we just did, and it's going to take all 15 to do what we're trying to do. I mean, that's real. So for Coach of the Year, Taylor Jenkins of Memphis, and I think Monty Williams of Phoenix are both equally deserving. So you can split hairs or lose hairs over that. No, move on. In terms of Defensive Player of the Year, I mean, I hate to tell you this, but Bam has no shot. And it's not because he doesn't deserve it. I mean, we all, it's become sort of cliche-ish now.
Yeah.
Guard 1 through 5. I mean, we've seen this guy do it every single night. He guards 1 through 5. So I'll be upset if Bam doesn't even make first team all defense. That will sort of get my pride and anger aroused a little bit. But the individual awards doesn't matter. Everybody gets a ring, and everybody's going to get a huge bonus if you win the championship. And I think, again, it's going to sound cliche-ish. That's what this team was put together for. That's what they all came here for. And I think they got a shot, Defo. I really have a lot of confidence and belief in this team. And this is going to sound strange to you guys. We've had better teams. We have had better seasons. I don't know if I've ever had so much joy doing my job through the course of a season than this year. It has been a very joyful experience to cover this team.
See, I'm inspired already, Lubie. I mean, this man always does this to me. That's what I love about him. Now, one quick thing. I know Lubie wants to dive into this because he's a diehard Heat fan and has been his whole lifetime. But were you privy to? Did you hear Spoelstra call for and ask for maybe Chris Quinn to hand him something to throw with that Haslam Butler thing? You were courtside there with John Crotty. Did you hear him say, "Hey, give me something to throw"? Because I don't think he had the clipboard in his hand until he actually. Got it from somebody else. What was going on here?
Defo, we don't sit courtside anymore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're way up there in the booth.
Scotty and I, we're living the sweet life. We broadcast from the sweet level.
Oh, man. Well, maybe you could hear him from all the way up there because I'm sure he was screaming loudly.
I didn't hear it, but we were at a timeout, okay?
Yeah.
This first time telling this story, okay?
Okay.
And we got a great view from where we sit,
Nice.
even though it's not the sort of that intimate courtside location where you can communicate better and maybe see and hear a few other things. But, we're at a commercial, and I'm sitting all the way up in our perch, and I could see things starting to, percolate on the bench in a way that was not normal. And I got on my talkback button to the truck, saying, "Are you guys seeing this?" And the crazy thing was when it really escalated, when Spo was sort of chasing them all over the court, we had just come back onto the air, and I get the directive, we're going to come back with a promo. Now, promo.
Stay tuned to Bally Sports.
Come on, guys.
And, make sure you catch women's volleyball. Yeah.
In the old days, like they'd hand you a card, and you wouldn't have to turn away. You could just read the card, maybe look up. Yeah. Now there's no more stage manager. I mean, I have a little monitor to my right, so I've got to physically turn and look at the monitor. I did not see the entirety of it until the game was over. I'm in the family lounge looking at my phone and saying, "Oh my God."
That's
Yeah.
classic.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh,
I mean,
my
it's kind of like, when a guy has you read a promo, you're doing play-by-play on boxing and you missed a knockout. You see the guy being carried out in a stretcher. You're like, oh, yeah, that looks like Jones to me. What do you think? What happened here, champ? Lubie's, I mean, he is so into this Heat season. And you know how he is. He's psychotic about everything. So I don't know if you're ready for this, if you have a therapy session later on today. But Lubie wants to dissect, the Heat's chances here in the playoffs. Go ahead, fire away.
It's the one and only Eric Reid with us on Twitter at eReid Miami Heat with Bally Sports Florida, but with the Miami Heat since its inception. What's interesting, and you said it, and not only for Spoelstra, but this has been a year of, I think, acceptance finally of Tyler Herro, where he's not one of their best players. When you look at the percentages, when Jimmy misses, they're not as good. When Lowry misses, Bam is not as good. When Herro misses, they're not good. Like, when Tyler Herro is not there, the Miami Heat are a totally different team. And he's a guy last year that people were maligning. I mean, he hadn't really taken a step down, but we felt he hadn't grown. He not only grew this year, if he's not their best player, he's as important a player as they have. What have you seen from Tyler Herro? Because you're closer to this team than we are. The swag and this and that. But on the court, the kid has become a much better all-around player, and he's almost become a leader of this ball club.
Well, good comments, good question. I just want to read you a couple of numbers.
Yes, sir.
Without Bam, 17-9. This includes the last game of the season.
Yep.
Without Butler, 15-10. Without Lowry, 12-7. Without Herro, 9-7.
That's crazy.
So
did Lubie submit this question in advance? What happened here? You have the stats on that right in front of you? That's great.
This is from my Atlanta.
Look at him. He's like you.
Nice.
2 days ago.
I love this.
And I got it right here.
Look at this shit.
Beautiful.
It's right
Wow.
there. Because and I use that again in the Orlando game. To me, that's the best graphic of the season because it's the story of the season. Didn't matter who sat or who played, the competitive will, was there every single night. So, it's like Memphis winning without Ja Morant. Sometimes the media spins it like, oh, maybe Ja's not that good.
No.
Maybe they're better without. No. It means the team is that good, that they can win without a key guy. So Miami is a no-excuse franchise. They learned how to win without their best players night after night. Now let me get to Tyler Herro. He had an outstanding year. He's going to be the sixth man of the year. And if it's not unanimous, let's launch an investigation. I mean, just this week, John Hollinger wrote a story promoting Kevin Love as sixth man of the year. And guess what, guys? Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I would be more accepting of his column in The Athletic earlier this week had he not disparaged Tyler Herro and referred to him as a chucker.
Chucker.
Yeah.
Wow. That is disparaging. I mean, on Long Island, if you were labeled a chucker, there's a good chance you were not going to see the ball even when wide open from 16 feet.
And it's funny, the night that we told the story, the Atlanta game was Friday. This item appeared in The Athletic on Thursday, and it was on Twitter and everywhere. I mentioned it during the game broadcast, and I very seldom call out a writer or call out anybody like that. But I wanted to bring up, I said, I hope John Hollinger is watching this game.
Wow.
That's great.
He only had 13 points in the game, but he had 9 assists and only 1 turnover.
Yep.
And to me, it was a perfect example of how Herro's game has grown. First of all, he's a natural scorer. Yep. He shot about 40% from 3. That's the benchmark of outstanding. Okay. Plus, off the dribble, he's gotten so good that he gets to the basket almost at will. He makes it look a lot easier than it is. He became a much better finisher. So he's got his off the dribble drive game going. If you back off him to prevent that, he's going to make the 3. He's a willing and skilled passer, and his defense has gotten better. So, and he was coachable and team-oriented enough to accept a 6-man role. Come on, the kid wants to start.
Sure.
But let's remember, he's only 22 years old. When you look at the 2 drafts that yielded you Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro in the middle of the first round, hey, Pat Riley, Andy Ellisberg, all our scouts, outstanding. You can't do better in the middle of a first round than those two selections. So Herro's just begun his ascent to stardom, and I think we're all going to enjoy that journey watching him.
Lubie Kuiper over there, up in the box, hated the Adebayo and Tyler Herro picks. So you knew that they were destined for basketball stardom and eventual Hall of Fame and all whatever status that they could possibly achieve.
The happier you are on draft night is the more disappointed you may be later. Like Lubie was probably partying when we picked Harold Miller too.
Justice Winslow over Devin Booker, a classic Lubie move. Yeah.
Do me a favor,
we're pleading for months for the Heat to take Devin Booker, and
don't ever mention that to our Spanish radio announcer Jose Pineda. You want to promote a stroke.
Oh, really? That's funny.
It wasn't much of a stroke there. Those bricks from three from Justice. I mean, albeit seemed like a decent enough guy, but unfortunately, he's no Devin Booker. All right, so many different things. Eric Reid with us here on the show, and he, of course, is the play-by-play voice of the Miami Heat. Just does a great job with everything, and a real professional at everything he does, and a sweetheart of a gentleman as well. All right, the Eastern Conference. Let's take a general synopsis here, because you've been witness to all of this and seen far more basketball from these teams close up than we have. Celtics got it together. I mean, they started out poorly, and then they really played, down the last 2/3 of the season. Might have been the best team in the East. They were great. And everybody was saying, just as people were saying Tatum and Brown can't play together, they can't coexist, they found this, symbiotic relationship where they both just use it as a springboard to greatness this year. Milwaukee, I don't know, a lot of people discount Milwaukee, but what's wrong with them? And the Philadelphia 76ers with James Harden, interesting change of dynamic. They went from the sulking Ben Simmons not playing and contributing at all to James Harden, who I don't know. He finds a way to assimilate himself into things and seems to coexist well with Embiid. So, I mean, how wide open is this? Because everybody says, it possibly could be. The Raptors can't be discounted. Chicago Bulls had a good season but faded a little bit late. What do you see, Eric Reid?
I would take Chicago out of that mix, but I'm glad you included Toronto. They are among the teams capable of doing it. I'm going to take it in order. Boston, don't take them lightly. Best defensive team in the NBA all season, although they did lose their defensive-oriented center, Robert Williams, to a late-season injury, and he's not going to be there for at least the first round or two, and that makes a difference. Just to touch for a second on Brown and Tatum. You know what was the problem early in the season? They weren't passing the ball. It was like two black holes. The guy that got it first was going to shoot it first. And you know who straightened them out? I'm going to give Ime Udoka a lot of credit, but it was Marcus Smart. Who,
wow.
As
you threatened to kill them both?
He's a crazy person.
and dislike him because of the way he plays.
He's rough.
He's on your team. You love Marcus Smart. Like he wouldn't be a perfect Heat player. Yeah, Marcus Smart, the way he competes and sort of fights competitively every night. Smart called both of those guys out and said, you got to pass the ball more. Publicly called them out. And that's when things started to change for them. If it's Boston and Brooklyn in the first round, that's going to be must-see TV. Milwaukee, listen, they're the defending champs. Giannis and Middleton are proven, big-time winners. So is Drew Holiday. And they got Brook Lopez back late in the season. I was shocked. Bobby Portis had done a great job filling in. They're better with Lopez. He's their rim protector and spacer with the three-point shooting. Don't discount their chances either. Philadelphia, very good. Harden does not have a great playoff resume or track record. I don't love the way he played late in the season. I think Embiid's the MVP. They're going to be a tough out also. And the Philadelphia-Toronto winner is what awaits Miami should the Heat get past the first round. And, of course, for Miami, we're not going to know until Friday night who the first-round opponent is. So all year long, the East had this balanced feel to it. I think whoever stays healthy and whoever gets hot is going to be the team that emerges. And I like Miami's chances. But, if I had to pick two teams that I think will be in the finals, it's going to be Miami and Milwaukee.
There you go.
I'm not sure if you've had these discussions. I know, you probably run into the great Pat Riley one of the most, speaking of inspirational guys that you could ever talk to. And I know it's theater and there's creative license. Have you seen any of Winning Time on HBO, the story of the Lakers? And especially Eric Reid, the depiction of Pat Riley as kind of like a Bobcat Goldthwait type of character. I mean, he really does. He looks like he's being portrayed as if he was in that scene with Johnny Depp in the movie Blow, where the guy says, "I can't feel my face." How did he go in a short period of time from that to the slick, leader of fashion and all things in Los Angeles as the coach of the Showtime Lakers? But has he commented on the portrayal in Winning Time at all, or are people afraid to ask what he thinks?
Excuse me.
You don't have to comment if it could jeopardize your position there. Yeah.
No, I have not talked to Pat about that. I've only watched. I've watched it. I at some point when things quiet down, I will watch the entire series.
Yeah,
but I gotta tell you, I watched about 5 minutes of one episode, and I happened to catch the scene. And I heard that Jerry West and Pat, the portray, and what little I've seen of how they portrayed Kareem.
Kareem's a sourpuss, but he may have been a sourpuss then also. Maybe he was misunderstood. But
the creative liberties they have taken.
They made Chick Hearn out to be a real chump.
Yeah,
he was one of the greatest guys I've ever run into, Eric. I had an interview with him when I first got started, and actually Riley was the color analyst with Chick Hearn on the radio then, and they kind of mentioned that. They made it look like he fell into the job like a clown.
He begged for it.
And that Chick, said, "Yeah, get out of here. What are you? I mean, you should be sweeping the floor, Riley."
I think there's a general overall credibility to it, but there's a lot of things that are hard to sort of accept as, that's exactly the way it was. It's TV, it's Hollywood. But the one scene I saw was the scene in the dressing room between Pat and Chick Hearn.
Oh yeah,
that was uncomfortable to watch. And guess what? I could believe that conversation similar to that probably did happen, but I think they both, and for sure, Coach Riley deserved better representation than they are getting in that program.
They just make him out to be such a schlep, like he got his clothes on Schmattero or something. This is not anything that we're accustomed to seeing from Pat Riley. Certainly not almost immediately as he emerged as
he looked like Lindsey Nelson's adopted son.
Yes, he did. He really did. It was ridiculous.
Eric Reid with us here. All right, one of the things that you mentioned, kind of curious to me because you're sort of following this and. See, I just figure athletes don't give a flying one about like the so-called bulletin board material. But, and obviously there's been these motivational factors and tactics of Pat Riley, hanging traps up in. Oh, no, that was Wanstead. But, he's used this sort of thing, the Trojan horse thing where everybody popped out of the box. But these guys really take all of this stuff seriously? I mean, are they sensitive to, this kind of criticism? Because, you were mentioning this writer, was talking about Bam Adebayo or Tyler Herro. I mean, are they actually like absorbing this or are they just playing cards on the plane and waiting to get started in the next game?
Both. It's an individual thing, Defo. It's impossible to say, all NBA players are this. No, it's what this team is a highly motivated, focused group of professional basketball players. And that's even before the season started. When you found out that you were bringing in Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, and Markieff Morris, adding them to the group you already had, okay, with Bam and Jimmy Butler as two, defensive stalwarts, right? And you just said to yourself, my God, you're going to put out Tucker, Lowry, Bam, and Butler as 4-year starters. You automatically understand how competitive your team's going to be and how fierce on the defensive end you're going to be. And in adding Kyle Lowry, I know there was, I sense that there was a lack of the kind of excitement that I had for it. People loved Dragic in our community. He was very popular with our fan base. And I love Dragic too, but he's not a point guard. Nope. We haven't had a point guard, or I call him quarterback one, QB1, since Tim Hardaway retired in 2000.
Yep.
I mean, guys, it's been 20 plus years since you've had a guy to organize and run your team like we've seen Kyle Lowry do this year. And what a huge addition. And, it's funny, for the last game of the season, went through that mental exercise, like high points, because this season was such a joyful journey. And I boiled it down to 3 games. And there's so many storylines, but my 3 games, the 137-95 win opening night against the defending champion Bucks, the team that just swept you out of the playoffs. That's how you started the season. Yep. Then on the 8th of January, without Jimmy Butler and without Bam Adebayo, you go into Phoenix and you knock them off, I don't want to say easily, but it was a clear victory. So now you're one of 2 teams in the East that won there. The only other team that won there was Toronto. So now you've beaten the 2 teams that played in last year's championship, and in the Suns, the team that was clearly the best team in the league all year. So those are my 2 key wins. The 3rd game was the late season win at Toronto, the night that Kyle Lowry received one of the greatest receptions. Guys, I'd never seen anything like this. When do you go back to a city that a guy played in and left? Usually, at best, it's mixed. I mean, the respect and the love. First of all, I want to give the fans of Toronto, the respect and the credit they deserved. But it was really so much about the respect and admiration and love that Kyle Lowry earned. 9 years there, a championship, the partnership with DeMar DeRozan that he had for so many years, the work he did in the community, the kind of man and family that he had, for those 9 years in Toronto. I mean, it was all on display. I talked to Kyle a day or 2 later before the Atlanta game. I said, well, what a pleasure. What a pleasure. What an honor for all of us to share in that night with you. He brought his 2 sons out onto the court with him. And, the moment was like, if you didn't have tears in your eyes or goosebumps or feel something special, then I don't know. I don't know about you, but I had it and his teammates had it. I think so many people that watch it on TV could feel it and embrace it. I said to Kyle, I said, if you didn't walk off the court, they might still be standing. Then you follow that up with a come-from-behind win without Tucker and without Butler. But of all of the things that happened that night, it's what happened after the game in the locker room, a story that we knew about when it happened, learned more about after it happened. Kyle Lowry took 2 game balls off the court with him into the locker room. Okay, not 1, but 2. You got to figure, like, one's going to be for him. I mean, that was a night that you dream about having. You probably don't even ever dream about that because it's too good to even dream about. He gave the first game ball to his former Toronto teammate, Fred VanVleet, who, by the way, scored 17 in the first quarter against Kyle Lowry in that game. But Lowry mentored VanVleet, much as he's doing right now with Gabe Vincent. To digress for a second, early in the season when we were in Toronto, I had a maybe 2 to 5 minute chat with Fred VanVleet before the game. And we talked about Kyle and how much Kyle meant to him. And he brought up Gabe Vincent. He said, Gabe is getting right now what I got. And I just thought it was a very introspective comment from VanVleet, but it sort of symbolized the respect that VanVleet and everybody in that Toronto locker room had for Kyle Lowry. But Lowry gave the other game ball to Chris Quinn, our assistant coach, who was filling in for Spo that night. And even though he doesn't get credit for the win, it goes on Spo's record. Quinn coached the Heat to the victory that night. But for Kyle Lowry to have the presence of mind to do that,
that's crazy.
I told Lowry to his face, and I was so happy to have the opportunity to do this. I said, Kyle, that is the most thoughtful, most human, most genuine thing I've ever seen an NBA player do for a coach. And I think it just speaks volumes for the quality of Kyle Lowry's character. That is who is leading your team. And you just got to feel so comfortable with the way he plays and really the way he is. And what a great addition. What a great addition. And I feel great that, for the next few years and for the rest of this year, that's your quarterback. That is the guy that has made everybody better and gets everybody the ball when they need it. And you saw late in the season, He didn't care about shooting or scoring for, 65, 70 games. Last 10 or 15 games, he showed you what he's going to look like in the playoffs. And you could see why he and Jimmy Butler are so close. All they care about is winning. And I think they sort of take the game's temperature or take inventory of each and every game they play, and they figure out over the course of the game, what is it that game needs from them to help their team win. And I think that's where that relationship may have started, the Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry.
Well-deserved. Played his eyeballs out for Toronto for all of those years, and a great addition. Lubie was in favor of that actually when they signed Lowry.
That move.
It was one of the strange times that he was actually right. Eric, brilliant as always. And you can deny to your grave that Lubie submitted that question to you before the interview took place, and the fact that you had it on that particular game sheet.
I love it.
Fantastic. And I always love when you post those things up on Facebook, your prep sheets, because, kind of makes me feel, a little bit unprofessional with the way that I usually come into a show with some scribbling on a pad here.
Defo, thank you. Listen, by the way, when I post those things, first of all, the reason I had the Atlanta one out is just because I'm a little disorganized here and a few off days, and I haven't put it over here where it's supposed to go. And but I when I post those things, I only post the outside, right? Because if I opened it up, people would worry about it.
You don't have to. You believe in miracles written down on the outside, do you?
Well, to finish this off, what I have come to understand about my business, preparation is important. It's important. I don't want to diminish it. I give myself, and I'm a humble man. I really am. I give myself an A+ for preparation every game. That's a given. I'm going to be prepared. I think most people in my profession, whatever the level is, you're going to prepare to whatever level you're used to. But nobody, and especially myself, I don't ever grade. Your grade for preparation is semi-meaningless. It's how you call a live game, which is unscripted. You really can't prepare for all the things that are going to happen through the course of a night, and it's how you do that. How well you tell the story of an event that's happening, in live time right in front of you. That's where you get your grade. And that's the challenge. That's where the skill comes in. And that's where the fun of the job is. And doing it for 34 years with the Heat. And, I did 12 years of college basketball before I got to the Heat. And that's what keeps it fresh. That simple fact that you're prepared. But you sit down in that seat, it's 2.5 hours of unscripted basketball that you gotta decipher and describe and explain and enjoy, and that's where the real joy of this job and challenge of this job comes from.
That's 36 years. What'd you start when you were 9?
When were you 8?
You got a job right out of elementary school. Unbelievable.
I started with the Heat when I was 30.
Yeah.
Okay. I started my first job was doing Cornell University basketball. When I began doing Cornell basketball my junior year at Ithaca College. Jesus. I got a 1-credit internship at a Ithaca College class called Radio Workshop, and if you could get an internship, they give you credit. So my sophomore year of college, I wanted to go see the Cornell Penn game. Penn was coached by my former high school coach. They were a year removed from going to the Final Four, last Ivy League team to do that. I said, "Hey, Rich, can you give me a ride over to Cornell tonight? I want to go see the Cornell Penn game." I don't remember anything about the game, but one thing I'll never forget. I look across the court that night. I'm a sophomore in college. I see the Cornell radio booth across the court. And there was 2 announcers there. One I didn't know. The other one was a senior at Ithaca College, and I knew him. So the game ends. I run down one set of bleachers, run up the other set, and I call him over after their postgame show. I said, "Dave, what are you doing over there?" And he described that I'm the color man on the home games, and I get a credit internship and blah, blah, blah. I was like, "How'd you get that?" He goes, "The play-by-play guy is the news director at the station. That's how I got the internship." So because this gentleman was a senior and wasn't going to keep that position for next year, I said, "Could you introduce me to him?"
Huh.
He introduces me to the guy right then and there.
Wow.
A man named Al Beller, the news director at WHCU, station owned by Cornell University. I said, "Mr. Beller, sir, I really would like this internship for next year." And he said, "Meet me in my office later this week." I go to downtown Ithaca. I meet with the guy. He says, "If you stay up in Ithaca over the summer and do a news internship, I'll give you the basketball internship for next year."
Wow.
Guess who rented an apartment and stayed in Ithaca? That's so now
downtown Ithaca. Yes,
Exactly.
Listen. I love that community. I spent 7 years. I turned into my first full-time job working for Cornell after I graduated from Ithaca. But I'm home my junior year on Thanksgiving break, and I get a telephone call. I lived in Massapequa, New York, down on Long Island. I get a telephone call from the general manager at WHCU in Ithaca saying, "Listen, Al Beller can't do the season opener at Syracuse. Could you drive up and do the game by yourself?"
Nice. By yourself.
All right.
Nice.
This story was so old. I guess I'm so old. This story is so old. Syracuse hadn't even moved into the Carrier Dome yet. They were still playing at the Manley Fieldhouse.
Manley Fieldhouse, yes.
I get in my car. I pick up a buddy of mine in New York City, and we make the 5-hour trek, in mid to late November to Syracuse through a blizzard. At one point, my car actually slid off the road. I got to the Manley Fieldhouse about 20 minutes before tip-off time, and I did that game by myself. I did one other game that year, Cornell at Niagara, on the road by myself. Did the rest of the home games as the color man. And by the time I was a senior, the radio station had me traveling with the Cornell basketball team by myself, doing the games play-by-play, and I was the color man at home. And I can remember sitting on the bus as a 19-year-old kid, working with a school that I wasn't even affiliated with. And I actually had the thought, like, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to work for a team, and I want to do their games. Now, back then, TV wasn't even a thought. I was a radio guy, man. The radio play-by-play, which is a sort of a vanishing art, was the skill set that I was totally into. Joe Tate was my hero. I did a game, one of the games I did at Cornell. So when I graduated, the guy that was the general manager of that radio station, wonderful man named Don Martin. He had done Cornell football for like 25, 30 years.
Oh, wow.
He announced his retirement as I'm graduating from Ithaca College. And here's the good news. I got named Cornell football, Cornell basketball, Cornell lacrosse play-by-play. And I had many other duties at this beautiful radio station in Ithaca. And now the bad news, my starting salary, $10,000 a year.
There you go.
But in my first
Big money back then, yeah.
My first 3 years there, I made $10,000, $11,000, and $12,000.
Well, at least you got raises.
I got into my play-by-play doing Cornell football, basketball, and lacrosse, and all the many things you do at a small town radio station. And I very rarely ever thought about, how am I going to get out of here? I just loved what I was doing. It was in the community that I went to college in. I'm convinced I got my second job because of a running back named Derek Harmon at Cornell, who gave me so many great. Derek went on to play for the 49ers. His brother Ronnie played in the NFL. But there was this one call where I was like, Harmon up the middle, zigging and zagging. And the guy in Providence who heard that hired me because of that call. And that's how I got my second job doing Providence College basketball in the Big East and Brown University football, which later turned into a TV opportunity in Boston. And that's when things really began to click for me in the career. But that's how it started. So I've been doing this since I'm 18, 19 years old.
Wow.
And you hope, listen, it doesn't always work, but generally, the more you do of any one set.
That's probably Riley wanting to weigh in on that winning.
You should get better at it the more you do. So
it's the stuff of which legends are made.
Great.
Brilliant as always, Eric Reid. Fantastic having you on the program. I hope you'll join us again. And maybe if not too busy when the Heat sweep the opening round series, you have a few days off. Come back and help us analyze some more Heat basketball and NBA, and of course life stories as well. Thanks so much, Eric. It's always a pleasure, my friend. We love having you on the show.
Same, brother. I seldom turn down an invitation. Never from you guys, Defo.
Oh wow. That's awesome. We have great respect for you, my friend. It was awesome. I'm inspired. I'm going to go out and bet the Heat to win the championship.
Listen, Lubie, you're a great co-star. Yes. Thank you. And Defo, you bring me back to like the late 80s when we first arrived in Miami, and our radio market was awesome. I mean,
yeah, it was great.
The talent at WQAM back in the day, and at WIOD with Hank Goldberg and Neil Rogers and all the immensely talented people that worked at WIOD back in those days. And you, brother, are a throwback to a time where radio was great. And
It was a lot of fun. I was like you. I just grew up loving radio. I mean, not far away, Belmore, New York. I had the little transistor under the pillow, and the mother would come in, my mother, and say, "Hey, you sleeping? You got school tomorrow?" And she didn't really talk like that, but and I was like, "Yeah, I'm asleep, right?" And she would hear like a Red Sox Cleveland game bleeding through, because that's where we got our sports from. Eric, we love you. Thanks so much. We got to run. Thanks for being with us, my friend.
Take care, guys. All the best. We'll speak to you again through the playoffs. I hope.
Yes, sir. Good
All
luck.
right. Thanks so much. Eric Reid, man. That guy's brilliant.
That was great. Huge thank you to the one and only Eric Reid, the voice of the Miami Heat, and has been on the call for 34 years with the Miami Heat. A lot with that conversation. Not only talked about Tyler Herro and his true value to the Miami Heat, Bam Adebayo's value as a defensive player, what Jimmy Butler brings, as we all know, Kyle Lowry, the move to the Heat, and what Kyle Lowry was to the Toronto Raptors. He also talked about his humble beginnings from broadcasting at the early age of 18 to now, 12 years doing college athletics, 34 years with Miami Heat, the one and only Eric Reid. We love him. We know Heat fans around the world adore him. And he's excited, as are we, for the number one seed in Miami Heat to get this playoff run underway. That'll happen later this week, over the weekend. The playing games tip off tonight and tomorrow, and finish off Friday. First round NBA playoff action starts this weekend. So we'll definitely talk a lot about that, and we hopefully will get to talk to the one and only Eric Reid as the Miami Heat and the NBA playoffs unfold. For Defo, I am Mike Lubie Lubitz. Check us out every morning, the Defo Show with the Lubie Ion channel. Just Google the Defo Show, DEFO. Also, our exclusive content podcast, the Believe Network, Believe.com. Search After Hours. And here every day with your South Florida content, the Defo Show with the Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.